boys. So we just got back from shopping, okay? There's a lot to go over, okay? But we're gonna start with the simple stuff, and then we're gonna get into the details and ingredients. I want to make sure that everybody understands why we're eating like this. This isn't that TikTok, big thing that people are doing. No. I've been eating like this for 2-3 years straight. Body has never felt better. I haven't been to the doctor. I don't need to go to the doctor. I'm healthy. We recover fast in the gym. We're able to train so much and not have any fatigue, be able to sleep good, get rid of my acne, etc. Okay, so this isn't no trend we're talking about. First thing we can start off with is probably the most important, is the beef. Okay, so grass-fed beef, it's a given. Okay, personally for me right now, I'm kind of going on the leaner side just because I want to get a little leaner. But that's the only idea. If you want to go a little fattier, okay, to get more calories, more fat intake, then go 80-20. These are 90-10, okay? It's grass-fed from White Oak Pastures, really good company. You can do beef, you can do steak, okay? Beef is cheaper, steak, if you're really going nuts. Then we have grass-fed bison and grass-fed beef from Force of Nature. This is a brand that has the bison liver, and the bison heart all mixed in with the blend. So I don't really like eating liver, okay? To be honest, I'm not eating liver. Heart isn't bad. Heart kind of tastes like a steak, okay, because it's muscle meat. But they blend it in here with the beef, and you don't even taste it. It tastes great. So again, it's a little expensive. Probably the best quality source that you can get. This is the company right there, okay. Then we're gonna go to the cheeses real quick, okay, to knock out the fats and the proteins. So I like to go with this Swiss company right here, Switzerland company. Okay, they got raw Swiss cheese. Why do I like it? Because it's got total grams, 9 grams of fat per serving and 8 grams of protein per serving, and there's 6 servings in here. So about 50 grams of protein and about 9 times 6 is 63. It's 54 grams of fat. So 50 grams of protein, or 48 grams of protein, 54 grams of fat, okay? Just in this whole block alone. So you eat this in 2 days, you get 25 grams of protein each day. Parmesan Reggiano block, okay? Both with these cheeses are raw. That's the key thing. You want raw dairy. I don't care who's telling you, what doctor told you this, that. Listen, Italians and Swiss people have been eating this for freaking 300 years. They feel fine. And they're thriving more than your fat ass, okay? So the cultured milk is number one, okay? Make sure that it's not pasteurized. You see how it says organic cow's milk? I don't know if you can see that, if it potentially can focus. Okay? The key thing is to not get it pasteurized, okay? And so Parmesan Reggiano, probably my favorite block of cheese. You can do the Swiss. You can do La Gruyere is another good brand. Or sorry, another type of cheese. And then Pecorino Romano. Okay, those are all good raw cheeses. Another one thing with this one, total grams of fat per serving is 8 grams. Protein is 9 grams. So, and there's about, again, 6 servings in here. So there's 54 grams of protein in this whole thing, and there's about 50 grams of fat in this whole thing. So same thing. Then we want to go to the snacks that we have. Okay. This is kind of like throughout the day. I like to do the cheese sometimes with the beef, but this is a great brand. Easy to do it. Chomps, grass-fed beef sticks, are extremely affordable, clean ingredients. Okay. 10 grams of protein per stick. So have 2 sticks, bring 2 sticks with you, it's fine, right? Then we can go on to a little bit more of the dairy, the eggs, and the milk, okay? I got duck eggs today. Pasture-raised duck eggs is probably the cleanest that you can do. I used to have a lot of Vital Farms, but they got recalled for a bunch of BS that they were putting in the stuff. So anyways, the duck eggs are bigger than normal eggs. There's 100 calories per egg, okay? So it's 7 grams of fat and 7 grams of protein. And then there's a ton of bioavailable nutrients in these eggs, way more than, I guess, the average caged eggs that you normally get in those pink containers. Those aren't good for you. This is like the best egg that you could possibly get, at least from where I'm at in Jersey, okay? I like to have maybe 2 to 3 eggs per day, nothing crazy. Majority of my protein comes from meat or raw cheese. The family farmstead raw milk, It's not raw completely. It's low temp pasteurized. Again, I'm in Jersey, so we can't do complete raw. Okay, hopefully that gets changed. But this is the best possible company that I can get it from in the local grocery store. Okay, why do I like it? Because it's regenerative. Okay, so that means that the grass is basically kept clean, and the cows are kept clean. It's basically kind of proving that they don't treat the cows like shit. Okay, that's basically what that word is saying on the bottle. But A2 is a bit more easy to digest, that type of protein, so that's why I get this one. If you're lactose intolerant, usually use this one as well, and have it with. Don't have it alone. If you're lactose intolerant, or maybe you were told that you were lactose intolerant, not really. You just your guts has a lot of problems. So have it with some type of natural sugar. And I guess that can kind of transition to the fruit. So have like milk with your fruit or something like that. That'll be a little bit easier for you to digest it. Apples, these are a go-to for me. Probably 2 or 3 a day, no problem. Okay, 2 or 3 kiwis a day, probably 2. These are a bit filling. They are probably packed with the most nutrients in fruit. More vitamin C than oranges, kiwis. Okay, that's really important. We got organic bananas here. This is where I get majority of my carbohydrates. This and honey, okay? So apples, kiwis, bananas, and then we got raw, unfiltered, organic honey, okay? The really cool thing about this brand, again, it's made in plastic, so that is what it is, but it has no glyphosate spray on it, which is really good, and they keep the bees healthy over there, okay? You could call me crazy for, making sure the animals feel good, but the idea is that the problem is that meat and fruit isn't unhealthy for you, or sugar. The unhealthy thing is the unhealthy animals that produce the food for you. So that's what you really want to think about. We also just got some beef brisket bacon that we're going to try and cook with soon. But I just wanted to mention that. This is all clean ingredients as well. I don't really eat bacon, but beef bacon I'll do. And then with fruit as well. Okay, so just to keep going with the fruit, kiwis, apples, bananas, and then we got just some organic red grapes. I personally only eat these at night. Okay, because sometimes when I eat grapes, I get a little tired, and I don't want to feel that in the mornings. And then also get moving on to the fruits. Blueberries, go to, have at least a cup a day, probably 2 cups a day. I easily have blueberries all day long, as well as some strawberries. Okay, go to berries. Berries are probably the easiest way for you to get carbs. For anybody that kind of doesn't feel good eating so much carbs, go berries first. Easiest way to get carbs in. And then I also have some frozen blueberries here that I usually use for desserts at night with honey. That's delicious. Keep going with the carbs. We also have some roasted sweet potatoes. Again, this brand is Cascadian Farm. What's really important is that they only have organic sweet potatoes as the only ingredient, okay? Throw these in a pan for like 20 minutes, a little long, or you can throw it in the oven or a toaster oven for about 20 minutes. No issue. Maybe throw a little coconut oil instead of olive oil on them. Make it a little sweet tangy taste. It's phenomenal, okay? It's very easy to cook, okay? If you're gonna be serious with this diet, you gotta cook meals. Don't be a lazy piece, you know what I mean? What else do we have? Butternut squash. Okay, this is another option other than the sweet potato. This is really filling, and it's really low calorie, which is interesting. Again, the only ingredient, if you can possibly see it, doesn't matter, is organic butternut squash. That's the only thing in there, okay? We snuck in a block of raw milk cheddar here that we're gonna make some ground beef tallow French fries with and shred the beef on it. Okay, so there's another thing that we got. We can go over these later, but I'm just gonna move on to the bone broth, the salt, and then some juices and coffee. Okay, I do drink coffee. I played around with it for a little while. I don't like to be addicted to it, but I can explain why. Okay, so with bone broth, you definitely want to get at least potentially less than a cup a day, but definitely get it in your diet every day. If you're not getting enough beef, at least get bone broth, whether that be from chicken or beef. Kettle and Fire is a good brand. You can just pretty much open it, drink it. You can even put it in with your beef as you cook it. It's even better like that, instead of like just downing it like I do, but it's up to you. And then Lakewood is probably the best brand to get organic juice from. I like pomegranate juice. There's been studies on this showing that it boosts testosterone 20%. And it's a very clean carbohydrate before the gym. and also after the gym. So it's very, very easy. Juice is probably the easiest way to hydrate you, number one. Okay, you don't have to drink water necessarily all the time. You can drink juice. You can drink milk. Milk is probably the most hydrating actual drink there is. Studies show that clearly, and any doctor can't debate that. So, yeah. And then, yeah, so pomegranate juice is solid. And then coffee. Going on to the coffee. Chamomile, handcrafted cold brew. This is organic black coffee. I don't know what company this is. Yeah, it's not chamomile. It's chameleon. Here we go. And so yeah, this is made in Austin, Texas. It's an organic black coffee brand. This is the only one that I get. Why? Because it's in a glass. And then two, I know the ingredients in it. Okay, and cold brew is probably the cleaner way to make coffee, rather than it being through a Keurig machine or using the plastic pods or going to your local coffee shop or bagel store where they make the plastic cups. Those are no good. It's going to leach a lot of plastics into the cup, and then you drink it, and you're literally draining and depleting your hormones. And so you want to get the highest quality source coffee if you're going to drink it. Because I used to just drink whatever coffee, and I hated it because it was no good for the system. And I felt the effects as well. So, and then finally, sea salt. Be careful what you season your food with. This is very important. I usually use a hand-picked sea salt from the Mediterranean Sea that I get from Whole Foods, but we were just at an organic market, and this is probably the best one that I found. Why specific sea salts? Well, majority of them have microplastics in them. And what are microplastics? Basically, like, this stuff is made of plastic, right? This stuff is made of plastic. And in the processing system of putting it in these containers, they get a lot of microplastics in them. And that's the same thing with the coffee. You don't want to have coffee with microplastics in it because it disrupts hormones, it leaches into the system, it disrupts the gut, etc. Into the bloodstream as well. So you don't want that. And salting your food with the correct amount of salt is ideal. Don't be afraid of salt. I think doctors talk about that too often. Salt as much as you prefer it to taste, almost. Your body will kind of naturally feel that when it's too much or not. So Maldon sea salt is a good clean one that I use. And then yeah, I think we went over almost everything. Two things that are amazing are beef tallow French fries. They're frozen. You just throw them in the oven. And again, I don't know if you know this, but McDonald's used to fry their fries in beef tallow in the 90s. And then Big Pharma, Mr. Bill Gates, came over and goes, no, and changed the whole thing. I don't know if it was just Bill Gates, but you get the point. All these seed oils are now being used to fry foods, which are completely making us unhealthy. And so beef tallow, which is literally this part of the steak, this part of the cow, rendered down to an oily point. I could actually show you what it looks like right here. Okay, so this is beef tallow. It's literally just beef fat from here, cooked down to make this. And this is the cleanest possible way to fry foods. And so there's nothing wrong with fast food. Just got to do it right. And these are two examples of stuff that you can get from the store and still have French fries. So potatoes aren't bad for you. Clean source of ingredients. And that's pretty much it. If you want a sweet treat, you can do some Hu bars. These are pretty clean, these chocolate bars. Dark chocolate's not that bad for you. It's actually got some benefits for you. It's not ideal, but if you want to, have a little chocolate here and there, these are the best bar to do that with. Simple ingredients, I'll literally tell you right now. Organic cacao, organic unrefined coconut sugar, organic grass-fed milk, and organic cocoa butter. So very, very simple. And they clean source it as well. I think this is pretty much everything, though, that we got. How I would use this in a day. For example, I usually have about 1 to 2 pounds of beef per day. So probably this amount of beef per day. Okay. And then I'd have around 2 of these kiwis per day. You can set this up however you'd like. I like to have more carbs during my day and a little bit more fatty meal at night. I like to save my fat for later on the night. Maybe some eggs with the beef potentially. Cheese is like a snack in the middle of the day. I probably have about half of this block. I have maybe 1 to 2 apples or 1 to 2 bananas. Finish the day off with some sweet potato with one of the steaks that I cook, either with some berries or with some grapes. And again, in the mornings, I'm having the black coffee, and just as like a kind of sauce for my fruit is the honey that I'll throw in whatever, or the cheese. Also, this bone broth I'll probably either have in the morning or at night before I go to bed. And that's pretty much what I do on a daily basis. And I've been eating like that for 2 to 3 years. And I think that every athlete specifically should eat like this consistently if they want to be feeling good, thriving, being able to train often and not have constant fatigue. That's the number one thing. And yeah, I know a lot of people ask what I eat, so I wanted to break this down for you guys. Yeah, stay locked in.